Hello, my lovely community. I've got a really exciting video for you today. My name's John Radcliffe. I'm really happy to be here today and give you the most value possible. I'm here at your service and for the higher good. Thank you for joining me. I realize there's lots of other channels out there, lots of people to draw your attention. So I'm really grateful that you're here with me today. Today's title of the video is Aligned Action plus high vibration equals attraction. The law of attraction has been bandied around more than 10 years now. So manifestation, lots of material on that. There's nothing new out there. What I'm going to talk to you about, and I hope to give you the most valuable possible information to take away and really understand what it is, what the keys are, what makes it work, what makes this whole attraction thing really work for you. So, yeah. So what I'm going to do is to bring out some key examples of, firstly, in my own life. The point number one here about aligned action is really deep down you know what it is you want. You might have it sort of covered up, it's kind of really deeply buried, you need to sort of dig it out. Well, in actual fact, it's a lot easier than you think. And by giving examples in my own life, you'll see what I mean. I've had an ongoing theme that I remember strongly from my childhood, helping my mother in the garden. She was a really keen gardener. I used to help her with the plants. I'd trim the plants. I'd dig out plants that needed to be taken out, all that kind of thing. So, and then in my adolescence and 20-year-old, I used to follow David Attenborough's series on the living planet. That was an amazingly photographed a series on plants and animals, animals of the ocean, the land. So it was sort of like my fascination with that has continued. Being an Australian too, growing up in Australia, I've closely followed permaculture. Bill Mollison, the founder of permaculture, grew up in Tasmania. His movement that he started is kind of like a legend in how you imitate nature to create abundance, food abundance. He included animals, although I'm a raw vegan. Something that came out of the quarantine that really turned my life around and could turn your life around too is, firstly, one of the 4 cups is focusing on your body, your health. And when you really pay attention to those issues, you start to have a spiritual awakening, which is what happened to me and changed my life for the better. But what I'm talking to you about today with the example of unaligned and aligned action, just to make it really crystal clear for you. So an example of unaligned action in my own life is I built a house here in Argentina from scratch. I bought a property that was an old 70-year-old partially renovated property in about 7 years ago, 2016. Now it's 2024. And I went through one of the most drawn out building, construction, design projects probably of any story that you could hear. We got held up in the middle with the quarantine where the construction stopped. I went through firing architects, getting a new architect, going through legal stuff with that. It's supposed to say that what lessons I learned from all that. The house is now sold. That's an aligned action story, which I'll leave for a little bit later. But I think I mentioned it in a previous video how fast that was. But talking about the build and the house and being an unaligned action, well, if it takes 6 years to be done, it's possible that there's things going on there that aren't right. In my case, it caused a lot of friction in my marriage. I think that was the start of the end of a functional relationship. But what I do want to say is that in my mind, when I was building this house, I was always thinking about them, the other. In this case, I was doing it because of what I thought my wife would want. I was doing it because I thought it was because of what my son would want to grow up in. A house, a nice house with all the trimmings, spacious, touches of luxuriousness, architect design, swimming pool, all that stuff. And what I realized at the end of it all was that it actually, who are they? What I'm trying to say here is that you need to get connected to what it is you want. And the house wasn't actually what I wanted. It might have been partially what the architects wanted to build, according to the codes here in the city, what you're allowed to build. It might have been what I thought that other people wanted of me, but it definitely wasn't what I wanted for me. And I'll tell you about more of that in this example. But following on from that story about what I really wanted, and the lesson I took from what turned out to be a very painful experience of a build of my own house, was that really what I really wanted was in fact to have a plot of land, have a food forest, fruit trees, that kind of thing, home garden, vegetables, salad, tomatoes, those kind of vegetables that you consume day by day, and a mud brick house or something similar, a sustainable kind of living house, maybe a live roof, growing roof, and with those really thick walls that just create a barrier to create a climate inside the house that's just so anyone that's told you that's lived in a nature-built house knows what I'm talking about, because a nature-built house is just so connected to nature as it would turn out. And in fact, one of the goals to attraction, you have to be connected to yourself. And one way to be connected to yourself is to be connected to nature. But I'm jumping ahead here because that's a point further down the track. So I think you get my point one, which is just clearly to illustrate unaligned action, the house build that was a disaster and a lesson in doing something for them never works. And when you flip that and do something for you, which is in fact what my dream is, and that is to have a sustainable mud brick style house, that kind of thing, home garden, fruit trees, a property with trees that stop the wind swirling around, that kind of thing, imitating nature basically. So that's my point one. Point two on this long video is thank you for staying with me. I hope it's really giving you great value today. I wanted to illustrate an aligned action because my life's really coming into alignment now, and that's what I want for you. I know you can have it. I've experienced it, and it's my turn to teach you all. So, and point two, the truck purchase is an example of aligned action. So what happened just recently, as you probably realized from the previous video that I published, I sold a motorhome and a house, this house project which I've just mentioned, in record time. As I mentioned, just to recap, I published the motorhome on a Friday, had a lineup of buyers on Saturday, and sold it to the first one that looked at it, and it was everyone was fighting over it. The same thing happened with the house. I published it. I wasn't staying in the city, I was staying down in the south, and I had, within a week, I'd coordinated a group of people to do a viewing on I think it was a Friday, might have been a Tuesday. And of those people, 3 of the 5 that could actually weren't on holidays and could turn up and view it. The second group through were the ones that bought it, reserved it and bought it. And again, that was record time. Those are examples of when it was so clear to me that it was time to move on. It was time to move on from this project. It was all about them and not about me. And the motorhome, again, was an example of something that I bought that was for them, what I thought they wanted, in this case my wife. It wasn't about something that I really wanted to do, I wasn't engaged in. So those things, aligned actions, sold in record time. And also what worked in alignment and record timing was the purchase of this truck. So a little bit about the truck purchase story, which is really the main thing that I wanted to talk to, give you an example of aligned action, was with this truck. So I've been thinking about it for a long time. I've been here in Argentina almost 20 years. I'm an Australian, I just turned 60. So that's a pretty large chunk of my life here in Argentina. And I realized pretty early on in the piece that it's a really rugged country, very large expanse of terrain, not quite as big as Australia, but it's up there in the top 10 countries by land, by area. So, and it's rugged. So you need a tough, hardcore truck to get around in this country. Perhaps even more so than America because of the quality of the roads, and a lot of them, the gravel roads, big stones, potholes, that kind of stuff, or easy to get stuck in mud. It's just a country for a really rugged four-wheel drive, and I kind of knew that, and I knew that a Toyota Hilux is actually produced here and exported here from Argentina. It's one of their top-selling trucks in the country. It has been for decades, and it's just obviously the purchase to have. So I had that in the back of my mind when I was now thinking to move to the country from the city and buy some land and do my sustainable project. And so here I am contacting dealers, finding out prices, and thinking, oh, do I really want to spend that on a new truck? Isn't that a waste of money? Shouldn't I just buy a second-hand one? And so, I did all that, and I ended up, the point of the aligned action here was and the attraction was that I had a really clear picture of what I wanted. I just wanted something basic and rugged, and I wanted that Hilux. I wanted it in white. I didn't want any of the upscale extras that the dealers try to sell you. I just wanted something that's hardy and lasting and the right tool for the job, basically, for my project, this next project in my life, which I'm excited to embark on really soon. And what happened was that I contacted a few dealers, and I really just was not attached to an outcome, who it was going to be with, whether it was secondhand or new. I just left that up to the universe to resolve it. I really just kept myself in action. I looked around at a few secondhand ones and found those to be dead ends. I contacted a few dealers and they came out with their high prices in the beginning and started to offer 5-6% discount on the listed retail price published by Toyota Argentina. And then I just kind of played it cool. I kept looking around, and the dealers just kept contacting me, and in the end of the day, it was like a competition between the dealers, that they could see that, and this is where I felt that the universe really had my back because of the aligned action, and how that just attracted this truck into my life, which I really didn't have to chase it at all. And so in the end of the day, between the two dealers, one just could sense that I wasn't desperate, that I wasn't going to settle for sort of breadcrumbs. At the end of the day, I ended up with a tremendous offer of I think it's in the order of 15 or 16% discount on the recommended retail price of a Hilux, which was absolutely outstanding. I just couldn't believe how that happened, because I'm sure that the universe had my back there. And that's just a really crystal clear example of what happens when you're in aligned action. And in my case, the aligned action was that this vehicle is a tool to enable the project which I have, when you have that project in mind, the universe just brings it, opens the way for you, my friends, and I really want that for you. So I hope that really makes it clear, the difference between non-aligned and aligned action, and how that can really make a difference in your life. My point number 3, you need to have proximity to community. Obviously, who you surround, everyone knows this. It's nothing new. The people you surround yourself with, the top 5, are the people that really have a big impact on you. It's almost like you just have to be in fact, my point is proximity to community. What I mean there is that by hanging around the right people, you're going to have the impact and changes happen in your life almost without you thinking about it. It's almost like on a subconscious level. It's kind of like it's actually the vibration, because we're energy, we're frequency, which is one of the points, the key point in having your attraction work is having aligned action, but also high vibration. Well, high vibration, as it turns out, is just a frequency. And I'll get into that later in my last point. How do you maintain that high vibration? It's pretty straightforward. So proximity to community. Point 4, maintain your 4 cups. What I mean about that, the 4 cups, is pretty simple. Everyone talks about this. Obviously, you have your body, your health, what you put into your body. You have your professional work life. In my case, this startup that I'm working on, the Soul Purpose Mastery, my community, my passion work, building a sustainable home from living food and imitating nature in all that I do. And so your body, your professional life, your personal life, your relationships, and of course your spiritual connection. So, which leads me to point 5. Point 5 is you need to stay connected to you. Well, what do I mean by staying connected to you? It's a bit about what I was saying before about maintaining that high vibration. It's kind of the same thing. And you do it through meditation. I know meditation to some of you is going to go, What is this guy talking about meditation? Well, I'm going to keep it really simple. What you need to do is actually put your hand on your chest, on your heart area, and breathe in. Breathe in, imagining that the breath is coming into your heart. Hold the breath 3 or 4 or 5 seconds and let it out. And as you're imagining you're breathing in through your heart, you're imagining you're making like a root down through your body into the earth, like a tree grounds itself with the roots, while we ground ourselves to the ground with our feet. In this case, the imaginary root going down into the earth. And as you breathe out, you're imagining that connection to the sun, the source of energy, and connecting from the earth, Gaia, to the sun and through your body. Gives you that spiritual connection, that connection to you, that feeling that you're aligned. This is where you get that aligned feeling, where you come out of this disconnection, this feeling of having to do things for the other person, when really the answer is inside of you. So just to recap today's video, that was a long one. I'm really so grateful and happy that you found this useful and that you stayed with me to the end here. Just to recap my points. Point number 1 on today's video about attraction, being aligned, taking aligned action, and maintaining a high vibration is the key to the attraction. And the examples that I've given you today, firstly, number 1, knowing what you want. You probably do already know what you want, but you've kept it undercover, and that's an inside job. I gave you the example of aligned action with what happened with a truck purchase, how just all the doors just opened for me without really me doing anything. I just felt that the universe had my back and was just presenting me with all these opportunities without me really trying. Point 3, getting proximity to like-minded people, to community. That's so key, because we're energetic beings. We absorb the energy of those that we surround ourselves with, and that's how you lift your frequency. Point number 4, maintaining your 4 cups. Okay, it's really straightforward. It's just about your health, your body. Point 1, 2 is just like your purpose work, your business. What were you put on this planet for? What really lights you up? Your personal relationships, your love, your friendships, all of that stuff. And finally, probably should be the first on this list, and that is your spirituality and your connection with yourself, your connection with the realms, the totem animals, your essence, your soul. Those things, my friends, just don't have a price. And point 5, of course, in summary, is staying connected to yourself. And as I mentioned, you can do that really simply with meditations. And in fact, the best way to achieve all these things that I've talked about in this video is by joining my membership. I've started a Soul Purpose Mastery private Facebook group. I'll put a link underneath this video so you can join that group. I really want you to take the next step. It's really affordable, and that's one way that you can start to surround yourself by people that vibrate on a similar level to where you want to be or where you are. And that's how you move forward and move closer to what I've been talking about in this video about attracting things that you want in your life. So thanks for listening today. I hope this brought tremendous value to you, and I'm here in your service. Thank you for listening.